least everyone speaks English.
You Seppo's gone Troppo.
Welcome to Sleepover Cinema, where we analyze the movies, shows, and music that created the collective unconscious of those who aren't entirely sure if the witness protection program is actually real. I'm Hannah Leach.
And I'm Audrey Leach, but my friends call me Sheila.
Today we're going to explore the good, the bad, and the nonsensical aspects of yet another instance of Mary-Kate and Ashley getting caught up in an international crime scheme.
I would just like to say, yeah, you're not supposed to know if the witness protection program is real. It's time for 2000's Our Lips Are Sealed.
Mary-Kate and Ashley are in trouble.
Hunt you down like a squirrel hunts nuts.
They've gone deep into hiding with new names
Hi, I'm Millie. Maddie.
and new identities.
We're wanted dead or alive. It's a problem.
We're sending you to the last place on the planet.
Well, at least everyone speaks English.
You Seppo's gone Troppo.
But the bad guys are hot on their tail.
Gotcha! Honey, I got a license to kill.
I have a learner's permit.
Is there something you want to tell us?
Yes. No. Yes. Let's get ready to rumble. I don't want to have to get rough here. I assume you've got a plan?
Turn them into shark bait.
Great plan.
Join Mary-Kate and Ashley Down Under for fun on the run in their latest adventure on the other side of the world. Coming in November. Our Lips Are Sealed.
So today we have some extremely qualified guests. I know we've said that before, but I actually mean it this time. I'm very, very serious this time because we just talked to them and now I know it's for real. The They Thought I Was You podcast, Becca and Lani. And I feel like now I need to go back to the beginning of their podcast and like genuinely go through the history. They just released part 2 of their New York Minute episode, which if you're in on the Mary-Kate and Ashley lore, you know is the last movie that they were both in together.
Yes.
So it took them 3 years to get to this point. 3 years of making this podcast to get to New York Minute. So if that doesn't just explain how deep the lore runs.
I was telling them, it's like if Audrey and I are like undergraduate students, they are like PhD professors, like educating us so thoroughly. They know a lot and they've done a lot of research. They are preeminent academics in the space.
Yeah.
And I feel really lucky that we get to have them on the show today.
I mean, we talked for a solid hour and 15 minutes, so we're gonna just try and speed on through the first half so we can get to the good stuff because let's be real, we don't know what we're talking about compared to them. The film Our Lips Are Sealed was released on November 21st, 2000, and it was rated G. The IMDb synopsis is: a family is relocated by FBI after the twin sisters stop a diamond thief with ketchup. They are blabbermouths, so as last chance, they end up in Sydney, Australia. 2 mobsters are sent there for them and the hidden diamond. What is going on? Okay.
That is so good.
Rotten Tomatoes. Hoodlums chase twin sisters around Australia in an attempt to keep them from testifying in court. That is so not the description that I want. And finally, Letterboxd. Mary-Kate and Ashley star in this down-under adventure filled with non-stop Aussie intrigue, laughs, and romance. After running afoul of a notorious gangster, Mary-Kate and Ashley take refuge in the FBI Witness Protection Program. Unfortunately, the girls are uncontrollable blabbermouths, and they blow their cover in town after town until there's only one hiding place left: Australia.
I want to know what Aussie intrigue is, personally.
Also,
nonstop.
Why are they obsessed with calling them blabbermouths? The only tagline is filmed in Sydney, Australia.
The movie was directed by Craig Shapiro, who was a recurring character in the Mary-Kate and Ashley universe. Primarily as a screenwriter, he was teamed up with Elizabeth Kruger, who also had a screenwriting credit on this movie. But as a director, Craig is known for Salvation, Necessary Roughness, and the Charmed reboot, and so was Elizabeth. The movie was produced by Dual Star, aka the Mary-Kate and Ashley production company / media company / merchandise company, and they produced the movie in collaboration with Tapestry Films, who also made Billboard Dad, Winning London, Holiday in the Sun, Getting There, When in Rome, and The Challenge.
The cast: Mary-Kate and Ashley as Maddie and Abby. And Willie Garson, who is Stanford in Sex and the City, plays Agent Norm. And he's pretty much the only notable other person in this movie, but when you see him, it's kind of jarring.
Yeah.
The budget, we have no idea because it's Dual Star. They keep that information to themselves. The critics' score on Rotten Tomatoes is 55%. That is nice. There are no critic takes because, for obvious reasons... Common Sense Media gave it 1 star and said it was appropriate for ages 7 and up. Olsen twins are boy crazy and dim-witted Australian adventure. Okay. The decision to play the inane Our Lips Are Sealed as broad comedy requires every actor to mug and chew the scenery. That, along with the montage of quickly succeeding relocations across the country, produces some funny moments, but much of the comedy is so tired it needs to lie down. Whenever crime boss Hatchu says his name, everyone in the room says God bless you. He and his cohorts hail from a small country called You're Ugly, so their response to the question, where are you from, often gets them in trouble. Whether direct nods to riffs in such movies as Airplane, The Naked Gun, Home Alone, and the 1960s TV show Laugh In constitute homage to those better creations or are just plain theft, doesn't matter. The overall quality of writing, acting, and direction here remains in the territory of dim-witted TV sitcoms, which, given the twins' early work on Full House, is no surprise. Why did they feel the need to, go in? The audience score is 53%. The Letterboxd average is 2.9. 3 audience takes. Despite some beautiful scenery, this calculated project to exploit the Olsen twins contains mediocre performances, poor direction, and generic slapstick that plays it too safe. Both hilarity and action ensue in this spectacular Olsen twins movie.
Spectacular.
A majority of the scenes in the film are hilarious and entertaining. Additionally, the plot was interesting and can be easily understood. The Australian acting, however, could have been improved. The Sheila parts were somewhat obnoxious too. Despite that, this is a really good movie any Mary-Kate and Ashley fan will enjoy. Finally, God, this movie is the dogs. Mary-Kate and Ashley are such idiots for making these films. The swarm of annoying crap films will not cease.
Again, we are just ripping and roaring through this first half. But our memories of this movie, I was going to say, I think we watched it at Aaron and Julia's at some point, but that's all I remember.
It's funny when, you go to another kid's house when you're a child, and back when physical media was our only option, it would be unlocking. We had no way to be aware that there were all these other Mary-Kate and Ashley movies unless you either heard about it or you saw it in somebody else's house.
Yeah.
So
or at the library or something like that. I'm really curious to look up Our Lips Are Sealed Barbies or dolls.
Without further ado, we're just gonna get right on over to Becca and Lani because it's way more fun than right now.
If you want to watch this movie, you may come to realize that it is impossible. But Lani and Becca hooked us up with a really good resource to watch it. I will put a link in the episode description to what is really a master list. And
it's a Google Drive folder.
It's a Google Drive
with every Mary-Kate and Ashley movie fully in it.
So we will share that with you guys too, so you can enjoy. With that being said, we will be right back. Okay, everybody, welcome back. We are so excited to have Becca and Lani with us from the They Thought I Was You podcast. This is so exciting.
Thanks for having us.
Yeah, we're excited.
I'm really excited that you're on our show for a lot of reasons, but one of them is that when the Spotify podcasts dropped back in the winter, so many people that love our show also love yours. Mm-hmm. And so cool. I was like, this just needs to happen. It's like a perfect pairing.
Yeah, that's such a smart thing that you made that connection, because I always see that and I'm like, wow, fun, look at all these fun podcasts. Yeah. And I never think to reach out to the other podcasts. Yeah. So that was good on you. Very smart.
Yeah.
Will you just tell us a little bit about your podcast, your approach to the media? And I'm also just curious how you know each other.
Okay. So They Thought I Was You is our tagline is basically, we re-examine Mary-Kate and Ashley Olsen's careers through a modern-day feminist lens. So we are both lifelong mega fans of Mary-Kate and Ashley. Mm-hmm. And the concept of our podcast is basically just from the very, very, very beginning of their careers / lives, because it's the same. We go through every single thing they've ever done and revisit it sort of with the wisdom and perspective that we have now, as opposed to just being oh my God, that was so silly. What were they wearing? Just sort of putting into the greater context of what was going on culturally and pop culture at the time, what it was like for women, how we treated things that girls were interested in, what it was like to be a kid in the spotlight, to be a girl in the spotlight. We give them a lot of the respect that we feel they were due, that they didn't have at the time.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think that's part of the reason why we wanted to start the podcast, is because we stopped being so focused on our obsession with them when they left the spotlight around 2003, 2004, and then into New York Minute and all that. And so we and I feel so many fans like us also just let them go, let them live their lives, because it seemed that's what they wanted. Yeah. But then it felt there was no cultural appreciation for what they gave us in those years, and what they I always felt as an Mary-Kate and Ashley Olsen fan that I have all of this experience and knowledge and encyclopedic knowledge, even because they really train us on
really
to know
train
their
you to know everything,
everything about them, all that kind of stuff. Yeah. And I had all of this stuff that I just couldn't do anything with. And then I saw our my male friends have their Lego movies come out and their Transformer movies come out, and I was just I have the same passion for stuff, and no one's talking about it.
Yeah. And there's nothing for this huge fandom, and it sort of felt very delegitimizing because again, the girly interests are less respected.
Absolutely. So we wanted to put that into the forefront and make it more respected, and we met actually.
Right. We actually, I think we both didn't even know that we wanted to do this. I mean, maybe you did, but when we met, that's when it all happened for me. That's when my life really started. But that's I didn't think oh, I want to do a Mary-Kate and Ashley podcast, but we met and I was holy shit, this is so how we met. So we had a mutual friend named Celie, who you guys might have seen running around doing our headphone search, who I'm now in a relationship with. I wasn't at the time, but we were friends. We were both friends with her. She had a podcast, and it was a nostalgia rewatch movies podcast, and she had Lani on and was oh my God, you have to meet my friend Becca.
I was on her Passport to Paris.
I did It Takes Two, and they're oh my God, you guys have to meet. So she hosted a barbecue in our honor, basically.
Yeah, for us to meet.
Wow. And then we met, and it was just sort of
love at first sight.
Yeah, it was how have I gone my whole life without knowing you?
Right.
And we just talked about Mary-Kate and Ashley, and we were we have to we just talked about them for hours while everyone just sat, and they were this is such a weird barbecue. And we were just what do we do? What do we do now?
Yeah.
With us existing and with this information. And then we were let's do a live show, and then the pandemic happened, and then we're let's do a podcast. And that's when we started. I think we started a little over 3 years ago, actually, which is crazy.
Yeah,
wow.
crazy.
Yeah.
I do have to say that you both having such an in-depth knowledge of Mary-Kate and Ashley is impressive for a lot of reasons, but especially because we've covered a good amount of Mary-Kate and Ashley stuff, and I've like done a good amount of research like into who they are and kind of like how their business enterprises worked and whatnot. It's like hard to get details on though.
Yeah, you really had to have lived it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like we did.
Yeah.
I mean, even what through doing our podcast, it's been hard to find information, and we've really relied on other Mary-Kate and Ashley fans that we've found through our social media channels to help us piece together what we kind of remembered from the time.
Yeah.
Because we also we're doing a podcast. We want source material.
Right.
Yeah. So a lot of people have come forward and like had archival videos and archival magazines. All this kind of stuff that like you cannot find unless A, you know what you're looking for, and B, you saved it when it happened.
Like you've been collecting it this whole time. Yeah, because I do feel like they and all their people have done like a really intentional job of kind of like scrubbing a lot of stuff from like none of their movies are available.
No.
I mean some are like New York Minute, but like usually we have someone who has all the movies. Lani has a lot of their DVDs. Like it is really like a community effort, honestly, of like making this podcast possible.
Lost media archive.
It is, and that's also what makes it that much more of an interesting endeavor. Like I don't think we realized that when we started the podcast that this would be like uncovering archival cultural gems.
Yeah, and it's just like one of those things that just has come together. Like we just made the podcast, and then like we didn't know none of the movies would be available, but it just like it just all came together. Yeah.
Didn't Mary-Kate and Ashley have one of those fan club things?
Yes, the fun club.
Were either of you a part of that?
Yes. So we did an episode on this. So it was the Mary-Kate and Ashley Fun Club. And we realized sort of in real time when we were doing the episode that it actually wasn't a club.
No, it was a subscription.
It was a purchase. Like it was like the first Birchback. It was like the first subscription thing. So it was like we thought we were like members of a club.
Yes.
Because we got like a card.
You get a membership card.
Card. And in our memory, it was like we'd get stuff.
Right. We thought we would just like sign up once and then like, okay, I figured out the magic code to like get all the Mary-Kate and Ashley stuff expressed to my house. But it was really just a one-time purchase.
It was like an individual order. It was like you order the Fun Club product and you just get a box of absolute crap.
Yeah.
And then like that's it.
It's like photos of them that are mislabeled, like photos of Ashley that are Mary-Kate, and it's
so many typos.
So many typos.
Like it's just like absolute garbage.
Yeah, and then in like the back of like the pamphlet that they give you, they're like, if you want your next box, and another $14 to this thing.
Right.
We're like, what? I totally didn't see that as a kid, and I saw that as like a woman now.
Right.
And I'm like, oh,
because
fuck.
when you're a kid, you're like, oh, I'm a member of the Fun Club. I got my Fun Club box, and then you like go play soccer. Like you don't track the shipments of the Fun Club.
No,
and so
why
in your
would you?
memory, you're like,
You don't
I was
have
in the Fun Club.
You don't have those executive functions.
Yeah,
as a kid.
exactly. So.
That reminds me of the Miley one, because I know later on there was like a Miley thing that was kind of similar.
They were the blueprint for everyone.
They're the blueprint for everything.
Sure, everyone copied them.
Yeah.
I actually don't know anything about the Miley one, but
We don't know about anything in the world except for Mary-Kate and Ashley, so just like, so you know.
Good.
I feel like it's normally the opposite with like everyone else we talk to, so this is
it's refreshing for that reason.
Breath of fresh air. Yeah.
I'm so glad it's refreshing and not like so
limiting.
Annoying. Yeah.
No, not at all. So many of the things you just said like launched a million side tangent questions into my mind, and we're gonna circle back to those. However, I do want us to just name the art we are discussing today, which is Our Lips Are Sealed, 2000. So they're both 14 at the time of this movie coming out, according to my research yesterday.
It was filmed when they were 13, probably.
Okay.
Yes.
Oh my
Yeah,
God.
they were
See?
14
Their
when it came
birthday's
out.
in June, so it was.
Okay.
I don't know when it
Geminis,
came out, what
right?
month it came
I
out.
know, that's so
Yeah.
funny that they're Geminis.
I know.
Yeah, it is.
Where does this movie fall for each of you in terms of like favorite to least favorite? Like how much do you like
Excellent
it?
question.
Really good question.
What do you think?
Well, I think that it's changed a lot for us since doing the podcast, because like I had it ranked really high until we watched it for the podcast, but then Lani just watched it today, and I feel like you have a lot to say on kind of how your perspective has changed even since we've watched it last.
Yeah, I mean, it's been a journey going on this podcast. Because we had all our memories, and we were really amped to watch Our Lips Are Sealed for our podcast because we were like, this is the cool one.
Yeah, I think we both remembered it as being one of our favorites.
Exactly.
It was like funny and like kooky.
And a little edgy. Like there was
something cool about it.
Yeah, because of all of the like fourth wall breaks and everything.
Yeah.
But like we watched it with like the highest of expectations.
Right.
And we had just come fresh off Passport to Paris because we're going chronologically through everything.
Yeah.
And we were like, oh no, this isn't as good as we remembered at all.
Yeah, I think we were both like really disappointed by it. And that like kind of clouded, that really like stayed with us for a long time.
It really did, which is why I was like, I think I'm going to rewatch it today because we just finished watching New York Minute. Those episodes were just posted on our channel, so not to plug our own podcast, but
check
we're
it out.
plug it
No, plug away, plug away.
Yes. So we just like finished our Mary-Kate and Ashley Olsen movie together, like them being in movies together journey.
Yeah.
And so we really just went through it all and finished New York Minute. And after watching everything and then going back to this one, I had such a soft place in my heart for this. And also like just, it's not, I don't think most of their movies are movies one that you should really be watching like super closely academically in the way that we were. I think they are sleepover movies. I think they are soft focus movies. They're vibe movies. And this one just has immaculate vibes.
Yeah,
and
that's a great point.
So I really just feel like it's gone so much higher on my list just after watching it today. And we're going to have to really reevaluate our whole list before we do our official final ranking.
Yeah, I think that's something really worth talking about. And just like that, like sleepover soft focus versus like academic. I think that's really brilliant. I've never, I haven't thought of it like that before. Yeah.
Because the rankings would be totally different. Like if you're going to, what's the best movie? What's the best vibe? They're totally different things.
Totally.
Yes. And that's the thing when we rank, and this is why we can't give you a straight answer right now. This is like the long-winded way of saying we don't know.
We don't know.
Because when we are thinking about doing like an official ranking, and I think we do need to have categories.
Yeah.
Because there is like the story category, but you can't put everything on that. That's not what Mary-Kate and Ashley movies are about. You have to have a vibe category. You have to have a fashion category. You have to have a boys category.
You have to have like a cultural importance category. Because like
makeover
Holiday
category.
in the Sun, right?
Yeah.
Like shopping montage categories.
Yes.
Like Holiday in the Sun is like ridiculous, but it's so important in our culture.
It's so true.
And it's like the movie itself is it falls apart the minute you look at it, but it's so good. It's so good. So like there's something to be said for that, for sure. Yeah.
Holiday in the Sun is the one set at Atlantis, right?
Yes,
absolutely.
Okay.
It absolutely is.
We did an episode on that not that long ago, and I loved it too.
Yeah,
it was
good.
so good. There is this run of Mary-Kate and Ashley movies where it's all very much like rooted in some international destination.
Yeah.
And the question that pops to mind for me, and I'm sure that one or both of you has the answer to it, is, was this decided from a perspective of like tourism, like getting tourism sponsorship, or from a way where it's like, we run Dual Star and we want to go on vacation to travel the world? Like what do we think?
We want to write off.
That's a good question. Right. Yeah, no, that's a good question. I don't know. I think I always sort of assumed that it was like them wanting to go somewhere.
Yeah.
I want to say it's both because I don't know if you've gone into your research to find that they had a very intense manager named Robert Thorne, and he did do a lot of business deals with them, and that's why you'll have a lot of product placement and a lot of like, that's why you know that Holiday in the Sun is at the Atlantis.
Yes.
Because if they got that partnership, then they would probably film there for free, and then that's the deal that Robert Thorne would make, was like, well, we're gonna promote like crazy. I don't know if you noticed this in Our Lips Are Sealed, because I watched the VHS, which I have for the first time today. Yeah, you gotta get the VHS.
I'm jealous.
But there's a commercial at the end of the movie for Qantas Airlines, which is a line that Ashley says in the movie.
No way.
Yes, it's when she has the guys tied up and she's like, and she's calling the like mega bad guy.
Yeah.
And he's like, I have your guys tied up, so you're going to want to get to Australia ASAP. And fly Qantas. It's going to be a long flight.
Wow. That's just like a straight up commercial.
Exactly.
Because that's not even a joke. Like that's not
It
not
honestly
smooth at
sounded
all.
cool how she said it.
Well,
Because
of course.
it's Ashley. And she was just like, she was like playing this like, you're going to want to take Qantas. I think I'm making it sound worse than what it was in the movie.
I don't even remember that.
Why would you? It was just so funny to like at the end see that. So
well,
basically,
that's product placement. So like,
Yes.
I don't know if that was like if they like sponsored the whole film or what.
No.
But like, is that that's an Australian airline?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. So it could be.
I think what happens is Mary Kate and Ashley are like, I want to travel somewhere, go somewhere new. Here's some ideas of places we'd like to go. And then Robert Thorne is like, okay, let me see what kind of like deals I can make. And and the best deals he gets is where they go.
We
That'd be
also
my guess.
we talked to the writer of One in London, Winning London.
I've seen so many movies.
But yeah, Winning London. I knew it was wrong when I said it. Okay, but
When in London.
When
That's
in
really
London.
hard to say.
It was easy for me. Okay, Winning London. She said that originally she was hired to write a movie about them in Venice, and it was like a heist in like the Venice canals. And I wonder if like that was like they had a deal that fell through.
Right.
Now it has to be London, or if they're like, actually, we want to go to London. Let's get a spot. Like I don't know if it was inside out or outside in. Like I don't know what came first.
We don't want to pretend like we know the answer there, but yeah, that's the inside knowledge we have.
So we've covered so far. We've done New York Minute, which I also want to talk about because clearly there's something. We did it a while ago. We did New York Minute, Billboard Dad, Passport to Paris, Switching Goals, Holiday in the Sun.
What a wild order you watch these in.
Yeah.
Well, that was me just saying
listing
them. I don't know if it was in order.
Okay.
But I will say that an important piece of lore for me and Audrey is that we were never really into Mary Kate and Ashley, not on purpose. Just I think because we were born in 95 and 97, we were like a little bit on the young side. But
and that
the
media really has to come to you. Like you have to seek it
right.
out.
Well, Audrey, do you want to explain how it came into our lives?
Yeah, so basically I don't remember why though. Or like
we were
who
going to
got
Hatteras.
Oh, okay.
Mom got it from
so
Sam's Club.
We had a long drive to Cape Hatteras in North Carolina.
Sisters?
Yeah, we're sisters.
Oh,
Yeah.
I didn't realize that. Yeah. I was like, you've known each other a while.
Yeah. No. We're sisters.
Adorable.
Cute.
Yeah, basically we were on a road trip and our mom bought one of those DVD packs, Mary Kate and Ashley DVD packs, and it was Billboard Dad, Switching Goals, and Passport to Paris. So we watched those on like many dozens of times, and those are the ones that we know the best.
To me, it always felt like Billboard Dad was a little bit random with the other two.
Oh, that's not the one I would call random.
I thought Switching Goals would be the random one.
Yeah,
There
Switching
you go.
Goals is. Do you guys like Switching Goals?
Yeah, how do you feel about Switching Goals?
Switching Goals?
It's a sports movie, so I didn't love it.
Yeah, I mean sports, and also like there's a lot of like, why is the plot like low key about the dads, like the men?
Yeah, okay. It's like men arguing in a boardroom about like who can be the most sexist towards 8-year-old girls.
Yeah.
It's the worst movie. I'll answer that for you.
Yeah.
The correct answer is that it's the worst movie ever made.
Yes, we really don't like Switching
It's
Goals.
so bad.
We respect all Mary Kate and Ashley fans who do, but it's really one of the.
It's not very good.
It's really very, very quite bad.
Quite bad.
Yes. I will say that if that is the bad Mary Kate and Ashley movie about a dad, then the good one is Billboard Dad, because I love Billboard Dad.
So good.
Look, Billboard Dad and Passport to Paris, those are the goats.
Two of the top, literally two. Like we argue about this all the time. Which one's better? Like they're both so excellent.
They're the ones that started it all. They're perfect films.
And
also, Switching Goals, there's a reason why it's less good, and it's because it was made for TV movie. It was not a fully dual star made from beginning.
It was like ABC nightly movie.
Yeah, it was like family something.
Yeah, it was
part of whatever.
We definitely talked about that. It was
out.
wasn't it, Hannah? You know whenever we cover movies sometimes and it's from the 90s and it was a TV movie, it's like Wonderful World of Disney collab.
Yes,
that's what it was.
Yes, exactly.
It was a Dual Star and Wonderful World of Disney collab.
Yeah.
And I don't think Dual Star knew at that point yet how to collab.
No, clearly not.
And why were they writing so hard for Lexi Lawless like that? Like,
oh my god!
Probably because they got Lexi
That's who they
Lawless.
got.
Yeah, that was
exactly.
Robert Thorne's
My girlfriend,
deal.
like they're like, oh, he's the best that ever lived, and she's like, no, he's not. Like she was just like so mad. And I was like, okay, I believe you. I don't.
like when you could have gotten like Mia Hamm or like a girl or like somebody who like
Right.
Well, yeah, the Switching Goals doesn't have a high opinion of
Switching Girl. Well,
that's what it is.
Well, but they don't have a high opinion about
female
girls or women at
sports,
all.
yeah.
Like truly.
It's true.
It's just like philosophically, the movie makes me feel bad.
Yeah, it's like
boring.
men being like, girls can't play sports, and it's like a lot of the time girls are seeing that message for the first time in this movie.
Yeah,
because you're young, like you don't know sexism yet, and you're learning it.
Right, you're like, oh, if I play soccer, I'm probably gonna have a lot of
like
a lot
men
of hurdles
hating
to jump.
me.
Yeah, it's I don't know, and it's also
Yeah.
like Mary Kate and Ashley playing the same characters that they play in Two of a Kind.
But
I always
worse.
Two of a Kind.
Two of a
but
Kind
worse.
is fantastic.
Two of a Kind is one of the most incredible Mary Kate and Ashley projects. If you have not seen it, go run,
Haven't.
jump to go watch it.
It's their sitcom on ABC Family.
Yeah.
ABC.
ABC, yeah.
From 1998.
1999.
1999.
Yeah.
1999. And it's so good.
Same
it's like
characters?
genuinely good.
Well,
same archetypes.
Yeah,
So,
so,
like
like-
Ashley's the girly, like cheerleadery one, and Mary Kate's like the sporty one.
Right,
Yeah.
exactly. But they're much more fully they're well-rounded
Realized,
characters
yeah.
and fully realized in the TV show.
Yeah.
I would assume that both
Tragically.
of you can identify them very easily, right? Like who's
Yep.
who?
Yes. Perfect.
Okay.
Yeah, that gets struggles
skill.
sometimes.
It's funny. I feel like I always prided myself as someone who could always tell them apart, but then I met this one and she like always tells me I'm wrong. I feel like I can identify them usually. I think like prior to like age 6, I feel like
It's really
I have a
hard.
really hard time
Yeah.
because they just look a lot more
And
similar
they're
when
dressed
younger.
always the same, pretty much.
Right.
Exactly,
Yeah.
And when their hair is the same, it really they look a lot alike. What can I say? Can you believe it?
But
But yeah, they really have different hairstyles like from 2000 onwards.
And I think it's also like, but when they get a little older, they do just like more. They do grow into just different,
exactly people,
different faces, different vibes,
Yeah.
different
It
voices.
gets way
Like you
easier.
can really tell. Yeah, because they become more actualized human beings.
Exactly.
So yeah.
When Audrey and I watched New York Minute, neither of us had seen it in a really long time. And kind of our takeaway from it, and we ended up applying this to a lot of different movies we've watched that involve like a very like super like hot at the time like starlet or starlets, like people that really have like a ton of cultural clout in the moment where the movie is coming out. We evaluate the movie based on whether or not we are getting to see the girl in question do what we want
To see them do, basically.
yeah,
Like, is this
like, so-
how we want to spend this runtime, watching them like deal with some zany B plot? Like, do we really?
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
does it need to be all this like a mystery or a crime or that like sort of thing?
It's also like, am I correct in remembering that in New York Minute they're like really like dirty a lot?
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, like what do we make of that?
Well, we've talked about that. I mean, I mean, they're dirty a lot, but they're also like kind of naked a lot,
Yeah.
and like
Right.
their clothes are
Towels.
compromised a lot.
Yeah.
like that sort of. I feel like that's sort of connected. They just get kind of like messed up a lot.
Yeah.
Right. And yeah, I do know what you're saying because like we want to see the person we're watching do the thing we love to see them
Right.
do. And
Yeah.
what do we love Mary Kate and Ashley doing? Like we love how their fashion.
Right.
We
Yeah.
love them being in control and like kind of being cool girls. in a
Being
way.
cool and also like very creatively and cleverly kind of like getting into and out of like a tricky situation,
Right,
but in
yeah.
a way that feels like they have agency as opposed to like the city just happening to them and taking all their clothes away.
Fully 1000%. And that's what their brand was built on. Like
exactly.
Even from their crime, the philosophically crime by dinner time, like the detective days.
Yes.
That was all of them being like very precocious young children who solved problems for adults because they were just so good at just being perceptive.
Right. And that's what we loved so much about them. And I think when they made New York Minute, I think like in them kind of leveling up to like the greater pop culture space, like the bigger people who weren't involved with them early on, like didn't know what to do with them.
Yeah.
And I think they were just sort of like, they're hot, they're young, they're almost 18. Like, let's get them in these like dumb scenarios where they don't have any agency and just like see how their clothes can come off. Like, it really didn't feel like they
Had any agency.
really understood what Mary-Kate like what the actual appeal was of Mary-Kate and Ashley. And I think that's a lot of like what we talk about a lot of the time is just sort of people assuming that like people who were fans of theirs liked them in a very shallow kind of way. But we really, there was so much about them that was so admirable. They were cool. They were like self-starter. They were aspirational. They were smart. They were funny.
Yeah.
Like, and I just think that in New York Minute, they didn't know what to do with them. But I felt the same way. Like, I said this to Lani a bunch. I was like, it feels like they're just like killing time. Like, they're just like trying to figure out what to do with the allotted time of a feature film.
Yeah,
and
it's like you could have just made like a good feature.
You could have just instead made a good movie.
Instead of being like, oh shoot, we got another half hour.
Yeah,
We gotta
like,
kill. Like, why are you killing any amount of time? You're spending millions of dollars.
Millions
on
of
this.
dollars. Anyone would kill to do this dream. I want to make a movie. Anyway, that's a personal. I'll talk to a therapist about that. Anyway.
In interviews with Mary-Kate and Ashley and in kind of just as they got older, I could always, and I think everybody could kind of sense that like perhaps these girls like aren't that interested in acting and they kind of don't really seem passionate about it, or you know, they feel like their life has been very controlled up to this point, therefore they kind of want to run away as fast as they can from this whole childhood empire they've built. And I'm just wondering, like, how all of that knowledge now, like, colors your view of their work, especially with all of, like, the things coming out now about children on sets and just all the, like, shit that we've always kind of known was bad, but is really coming to light in a new way right now. Yeah, I'm just curious what your view is looking back on their work now, knowing that they can only have so much agency being children. You know?
Totally. I mean, we talk about that constantly. Like, I mean, especially just like in the broadest sense of like whenever we've like evaluated sort of their performances from a young age, we're just like, we've like continuously said like they don't have to be good.
Right.
They didn't want to do this. They're just random kids.
They got
like,
put in the spotlight at 9 months old. If they were good at acting, that would merely be a coincidence.
That would be like an amazing coincidence.
Yeah.
Like they're not supposed to be good. So like just to like be easy on them in that way. And then also, we talk a lot about how like they have, God, there's so much we could say about this. Oh my God. Okay. So they basically have this like canned thing that they'd always say in interviews where they'd be like, oh, are you guys, like the interview would be like, oh, are you guys still having fun? Do you still want to do this? And they always say like, no, we're still having fun. Like we're in charge of our careers. If we ever wanted to stop, we would just stop. And they always say that exactly like that. But we've talked so much about like all of the adults who are relying on them to be making products and making them money, and how they really kind of didn't have the ability to quit because of all the people they'd be letting down. And like we've talked to people who, especially later on, who've worked with them, like in Winning London and Rachel Roth from Winning London.
Yeah,
like
her co-star.
She said like they really didn't want to be doing this. Like it was very clear
they just wanted to know what it was like to be a high school.
They just wanted to go to school. Like they didn't want to do this. So I feel like, go ahead.
Yeah, no, I think, so that is part of it. I also think it's important to say for this question too, especially in regards to like how Mary-Kate and Ashley are different to other child stars, is, again, with Robert Thorne, not to keep going back to him, but like he did make a deal for them when they were 6 years old, very young. It's been so long now since we did
Yeah.
that episode.
Yeah.
But they did a deal when they were on Full House that basically made them in control of all of the stuff. Like that's when they created Dual Star, and that made them in control of everything that they created. So we've always been talking this whole time too. Like, was that a deal with the devil, or was that like something that actually
Actual
really
agency.
protected
Right.
them? In the like, you can only be so protected as a child star because, like you said, you give all of this pressure. You are funding so many adults' livelihoods, and as a 12-year-old, like you can't quit because all these people are relying on you.
Yeah.
But at the same time, like them having that amount of power in their own stuff, like it led to them being billionaires and having their own like job. Like they're having so much freedom now than they ever would before, and I think that's why they are a little different.
Right.
So it really is a push and pull.
It's hard because it is such a double-edged sword, and we've been so interested in that. Is like, like how much agency did they actually have, and also was it like Robert Thorne set this up so that they could all be, so that he'd always be linked to them,
Exactly,
and also like letting them think that they're in charge, but they actually can't stop. It's sort of it's tricky.
It is tricky. And that's why it's just so interesting that when they turned 18, they bought out everybody. Their parents, I think, were also like had company ownership, and they bought out literally everybody. So they were the sole owners of that.
Oh, it's fierce.
So it's so fierce. It's amazing, and that really does like. It speaks to a thing of like, maybe they didn't want to be doing this at all, because the second that they had the opportunity, then they took it.
Right.
But also the summer of 2004 was absolute nightmare for them.
Yeah, and that's when they turned 18.
And that's when they turned 18.
Yeah.
So there's like a million things that like just kind of fall in line to make that decision makes a million sense. A million sense.
It makes a million sense.
That was right. That was good English.
Perfect. Yeah, really good. Really, really good.
Now you need to say what happened that summer, though.
Okay. Well, I mean, the main thing is, Mary-Kate went to rehab for her eating disorder.
Yes.
And also, like, they were so in the public eye because of all the publicity that they had drummed up for New York Minute, because that's when it came out.
Yeah.
They were about to go to NYU.
The
they
tabloids
turned
were-
18. There was a countdown to them turning 18. They were just, like, these fixtures in the tabloids in the way that they had never been before.
Right. The tabloids just became very fixated, and the media along with them, on A, their sexuality, B, their bodies, C, their like, I don't know, like their drug problems
Which
that they that they
made
wanted
up.
that they made up.
and stuff. Yeah.
Like everybody became so obsessed with them becoming bad girls. Everyone wanted them to be like to follow in the footsteps of Paris Hilton.
Lindsay
like they were
Lohan,
saying, and Lindsay Lohan. They're like, don't do that. But then at the back of their mind, they're like,
do it.
please.
Yeah.
But clearly, like the way the tabloids are treating them, they wanted that to happen.
From early ages, like years and years before that, like they'd go on The View and they'd be like, don't be a bad girl. Or not on The View, whatever. Like, no, people would say, like, don't be a bad girl. Like, are you? And they'd have to, like, defend why they're not going to be bad girls.
Yes.
People are just, like, obsessed with that. And so, like, when Mary-Kate actually had, like, an issue she needed to deal with, it just was, like, handled so horrifically.
People were making fun of her for it. It was
20 years ago. It was a fucking horrible time.
Terrible
Like,
time.
Yeah.
And they just had no privacy when they really needed it, and at a time, and they've never had privacy. And I think that was like the world really showed its colors on how they felt about Mary-Kate and Ashley, and just us seeing everything that they've gone through. And we covered that whole summer in our podcast this last year, like through all of it, and it just is like, they said fuck you to everybody, to the culture, to society, to everyone. Just like, we're peacing out.
Yeah.
So that's what happened.
Yeah.
I'm glad they've taken their power back as much as they can.
Totally.
As far as I know.
Incredibly, like they're rulers of the fashion industry. I don't know if you guys have seen what they're doing.
Yeah,
with
they're
the row.
huge. Yeah,
it's so
and
cool.
it's amazing. Totally. And like also it's been cool to like look back on a lot of their movies and just see like how passionate they are about fashion, or like interviews where like they're really like like just kind of phoning it in when they're talking about their new show, but then they light up when they talk about their fashion line.
Yeah.
Like it's just very clear that they've wanted to do this for a long time. So it's really cool.
Yeah. So it's really nice to like see them living their absolute dream.
Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, it's a happy story at the end of the day. But as happy as it can be when you're a child star who's been through everything that they went through.
Yeah. Before you both rewatched Our Lips Are Sealed, either within the past 24 hours or within the past several months, what were maybe like what were like the two biggest elements that you were like anticipating seeing? Or like what really stuck in your mind the most? Like I know you already spoke to it a little bit earlier, but yeah, like what stuck in your mind?
I mean, I love Australia so much. It's stupid.
Right.
Like, I just love, like, talking in an Australian accent and, like, Vegemite.
Do you want to do it? Do you want to do
No.
it? Yeah, you do. She wants to do the accent.
No, maybe a little bit. But no, but I just, I love it.
That was good.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much. But so I was excited about that. And I was just, I just felt like this was the one that was very funny. And I was excited about, like, the Sheilas.
Yeah. The Sheilas are great.
Yeah. And the fashion.
Yeah, the fashion. Like, the thing that stinks out to me the most is their go-go outfits with their
Yes.
I love those.
their high white boots. Those
So
are
good.
incredible.
Yes.
Which they custom made with Judy Schwartz, their costume designer.
Oh my god.
Yeah, it's always been about the fashion.
Yeah.
But also, I didn't watch Our Lips Are Sealed the most. I was a Winning London gal myself, and a Passport to Paris gal. But I did have it, and I watched it decent amount of times. But I feel like before we watched it for our podcast, before we like watching it as an adult, I was thinking like, I think this is the movie that I underrated as a kid. And I think this is the one that was actually really cool and maybe like showed the cool side.
One other thing on that note is like I think this is the one where it felt like the first time they were just like hanging out as teens with other teens, just being teens on the beach, and like that's just very cool.
Yeah, they definitely seemed so much older in this movie than even Passport to Paris.
Yeah,
And I wish the whole movie had been that. I wish they were truly vibing for the entire movie.
Okay, this is what's so funny. I think you both will need to watch this again because I see you right now and I see myself from the past.
Until today.
Until today. I see you from the past having rewatched this for the first time as an adult with like the eye of scrutiny and the academic lens. But then when you watch it again and let it just wash over you as any good Mary-Kate and Ashley movie should do.
that's what it's designed to do.
It's designed to wash over you and then just get into your blood and just make you want to dance.
You're so right.
I want to do that. I want to rewatch it now.
Because now I feel like I'm going to be the one out of us four who's going to be like
The defender.
I'm going to be the defender of this. Even though I know on my own podcast that we did.
We were like, what a fucking dud. What a disappointment.
Like, what?
We need our money back.
Yes, redo. Like, we rewrote the whole plot for the Surf War. We were like, this could have been so much better.
Oh,
so,
God, we're the worst.
I know.
Oh, my God.
But it's okay because apparently this is a very common reaction.
Yes.
Well, I think expectations are a big part of it too, because I think we were like, Lani, wait till you see this is going to be the best one, and then we were like, oh, this is a bad movie, and then now you're like, oh, this was so bad, let me rewatch it, and then and then you loved it.
Exactly. Expectations are everything.
Yeah.
Can I also say this really quick, and this is a controversial opinion of mine, is that the same thing happened to me when I watched the Barbie movie. I really didn't like it the first time I watched it, and it was so hyped up. It was so hyped, and everyone was saying how much they loved it, and I had my own expectations of what I needed from a Barbie movie, and I watched it, and I was like, nope. And then I left the movie theater like a negative Nancy, and I started like talking to people who did love it, and then I was like, you know what? I need to see it again. And then I was just like, I need to see it again and just like kind of unclench my butthole and watch it. And I loved it. And I absolutely had the best time. So I just think movies can be like
hard
this
to do
sometimes.
that. It's
Totally.
the unclench. It's a hard thing to do, to get over yourself like that. I had the exact same situation with Barbie, except I never unclenched.
Oh my God.
But
I hear you.
there's a lot of things about it I do love.
What if we did our whole podcast over and rewatched every single movie we rewatched?
Becca, I had the idea today.
You did?
I was like, oh my God, we have to do a rewatch podcast.
Oh my God. Okay, we'll talk about that offline, but okay, we're doing that.
Good.
That'd be really fun.
Okay, I have a thing. So, and it applies to this movie and it applies to many of their other movies where they are you know, the really cute little blonde twin girls that they are, and yet they are struggling socially, or they're concerned about how they're being perceived. Are they going to be,
I know.
They hate the popular girls, blah, blah, blah. And I always just think it's hilarious because I'm like, these girls are made to be popular. They are formed to be popular.
Yes. Fully, yes. Yeah.
And Passport to Paris in the beginning before they go.
Hannah's pool party, spring break.
Yeah, something like that. Where there's cheerleaders in that movie too, and their portrayal of cheerleaders is very different than
I don't advocate for their portrayal
they're
of
just
cheerleaders.
like dumb.
No, they're like mean to the cheerleaders.
Yeah,
I really don't. We really don't like the way they treat the cheerleaders in Passport to Paris. I've always made the argument that that's why they needed to go to Paris. Better. They're mean girls at the beginning.
Right. Yeah, exactly. They're mean girls and they need to become cultured so that they are less mean girls.
And I think it's funny, like what you're saying, like they look like they should be the popular girls. So when they are mean to the popular girls, they look like the Reginas.
Right.
They're like the mean girls.
Yeah. So
it's not having the desired effect necessarily.
No.
Right.
They're like so cool. They're somehow making the cool girls
look bad,
like dweebs.
I think that's sort of a very 90s kind of intellectual anti-feminist sort of thing of
Absolutely.
We are not those girls.
Right.
You know, we're cool girls. We're not dumb cheerleaders, which is very damaging. Obviously.
It is very damaging.
Yeah.
We've talked about that before with when I was a kid, you know the song Stupid Girls by Pink?
Yeah.
The music video and everything. To me, that exemplified that kind of attitude.
Yeah.
And it's reminding me of that. Everything you just said.
I've done a kind of semi revisit of that song. I feel like someone posted something about that on Twitter a year ago where they were you think that this is really anti-feminist, but it actually is super feminist. And I can't speak on it because I glimpsed at it, but I think that there's sort of the argument of not putting down those quote unquote stupid girls, but you don't want to feel like you have to make yourself seem stupid in order to be accepted in pop culture. But I don't know enough to say anything about it, so I'm not going to say more.
Yeah.
But there's a whole music video where she's making fun of all these girls. But I don't know if it's making fun of the girls or making fun of the culture's desire for her to be one of to dumb yourself down, sort of in Mean Girls where she makes herself bad at math, that kind of thing.
I think that situation becomes chicken and the egg really fast. So it's hard to know.
Totally.
But
what wave of feminism are you on?
Yeah.
Right.
What'd you say? What wave of feminism are we talking about?
Right.
Yeah. Anyway, rewinding to the cheerleaders in this movie.
Yeah.
Agreed. I also, of course, when the mean girl or the popular girl in Australia was a brunette, I was ooh, controversial.
I feel like their mean girls tend to be brunettes though.
Yeah, they do.
Also,
they're
Fox.
You're so right.
Yeah, I guess
Oh my
Rachel Ross
God.
wasn't a mean girl, but
She wasn't a mean girl. No, she was a nerd.
She was their cool friend.
Wait, Megan Fox is in Holiday in the Sun.
Yeah, famously.
That
It's
is
her first
so
role.
wild. Right.
Totally.
God, that movie was such a vibes movie for me. I loved watching that one.
Oh, it's
and
great.
That one had the oddly specific international crime ring
Yes.
situation
Just
too.
tacked on to the end.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Holiday in the Sun is the most Mary-Kate and Ashley formulaic movie of all. That's the one that has all of it disjointedly sewn together.
Right.
They're what have we done in our past 5 movies? Let's just take the best parts of all those and put them into this movie.
Vacation, boys, shopping montage, solving an international crime. And then some
Dumb
girl
parents.
that they have to hate.
Right, gotta have that in there. I also just want to say that I could not believe that Stanford from Sex and the City is in this.
Yeah, I know.
Rest in
I
peace.
love him. I know.
I was like, is this just a really low quality video file, or is that Stanford from Sex and the
that's
City?
him.
That's
And then
fully
it
him.
was.
Yeah.
All Lips Are Sealed is the first direct-to-video. Well, no. Billboard Dad was the first direct-to-video. But this is their first, after the Passport to Paris, mega success after that. So I don't know. I feel what?
No, I'm just saying. I think we're a little bit in our bubble right now. Like, I don't know that like Passport to Paris took the world by storm. The way I maybe think it
did. I think it did. I think it was a commercial success. I think it sold a lot. Yeah,
well, I think like with a specific audience, it was huge.
We watched Mary-Kate and Ashley on Donnie and Marie get like talking about how they're about to film Our Lips Are Sealed, and they're like, "Oh, is that going to be like Passport to Paris?"
And they're like,
"Yeah,
it's like Passport to Paris.
It's like Passport to Paris in Australia." And the whole audience
was like
cheered wildly.
You're right.
That on Donnie and Marie.
The biggest talk show in history.
Where they tell you to clap and stuff.
Yeah. When they put the applause sign, they applauded. So
I want to believe what you're saying anyway.
I think within the fan base, it was huge. I just don't know that it was. We can talk about this later.
I just wonder if they were able to give him a good amount of money.
Maybe. I hope so. I would hope
so.
Because
also, Mary-Kate and Ashley liked Sex in the City.
They
so
did
they maybe asked for him.
They might have just asked him, yeah. I also don't know that he was like a huge actor. I know that he was on Sex in the City, but he was he was really good friends with Sarah Jessica Parker. And she got him on the show. And like I don't know that he was like a big deal.
And this movie wasn't beneath him.
Yeah. He was like a character actor.
Yeah. True.
One of my favorite lines from a Mary-Kate and Ashley movie ever was when like one of the mean grumpy guys was like, "I got a license to kill," and she was like, "And I have my learner's permit," and then like kicks him or whatever. I told my boyfriend about that line later that day because I was like, that was a good line. Like I really enjoyed that.
I have a learner's permit. So good. They're so cool in this movie.
They are so cool in this movie. They are like other level. Even when they like come back from their roller coaster date with their boys, and her mom is like, "Where have you two been?" The roller coaster of life.
Oh my god, so good.
Amazing.
So good. I haven't even seen it in 2 years, and I remember that.
Exactly. And then when they catch the bad guys, and they're like, "That was easy. Lip balm."
Oh my god, so
it's so good.
Cool.
I don't know what do you guys want? This movie is great.
Yeah, you're right.
I mean, that's
I
the
think
thing.
I need to watch it again.
It's really more that I've been so curious just to like, you guys are such a trove of knowledge with all of this shit, and it is genuinely so hard to dig up anything on it that it's just fantastic to talk to people who actually know.
Of course.
You know what I mean?
Totally. I like to talk to people who don't know everything too, because it makes me feel like I can impart knowledge.
Yeah. Like have an impact on their lives.
Yeah.
And society.
And people who care. Like we are the people who care but don't know everything.
It's a hard Venn diagram because most of the people we know who care already know all of this stuff.
Yeah.
So it's nice to see people who care and don't know.
Yeah.
Totally.
I love that in the very beginning of this movie, they wake up from these same dream.
That is actually a reoccurring trope in Mary-Kate and Ashley movies.
It's so good.
That
dream.
was
like, what?
The first time it happens is in West Side Story.
West Side Story,
which is famously
does star Mary-Kate and Ashley.
Yeah, it does. Another one of their movies that falls apart in the end. How the West Was Fun.
How the West Was Fun.
Yeah, it starts in that one. Isn't there another one where they wake up in the same dream?
Probably.
I feel like
I don't remember.
Yeah, I don't know. I feel like they did that in When in Rome, but that could be just me making that up.
That is a horrible movie.
We don't like that one.
Really?
Yes. But maybe we
maybe I'll rewatch it and love it. It's just
like,
bad. It's just like it's boring. It starts
the worst
in
thing it can
absolute
be.
nonsense.
Yes, that's the worst.
Boring
thing
is the worst it can be because these are all a little bad in their own ways, but some of them are extremely fun.
Yeah.
But then when it's boring, it's like what have we been doing?
What are we doing here, guys? Release them.
Yeah. And that is what are we doing, guys? Like that was kind of the vibe of like 2003 of Mary-Kate and Ashley.
Yeah.
Like they really did dip dipped. The brand dipped in quality.
Yeah.
I think the world knows.
Yes, everybody knows. Every single. It's it's common knowledge for every single person.
Right. Yeah.
It's funny because earlier you guys were saying that you could talk for 4 hours about these movies, and I feel like we could also talk for hours and hours just with you as like our own personal like recitation teachers about Mary-Kate and Ashley. But I think that a question that I would like for us to go out on is just, I feel like it's kind of hard to put into words like what it was about Mary-Kate and Ashley that was so captivating to so many people. And I am just curious like what your takes are on why they were such a big thing, and also maybe like why we still care to this day.
Great question. Such a great question.
So we have 4 hours for this one, you said?
Yeah, starting now.
Okay, great, wonderful. I hope we can get to all of it. Okay, I think we have to start with the fact that they're twins.
Yes.
I think that's essential.
Yes.
Yeah.
Part of their magic, because they were built-in best friends.
Yes.
And them being built-in best friends, I don't know, something about it made it feel like not only were you best friends with them, but maybe you were one of them and then the other one was your best friend.
Yeah, that's a really good point.
Yeah.
I think also, like, on the note of friends, like, they were always doing really cool, fun stuff, often with friends who were sort of like stand-ins for us. So, like, all of their, like, party videos, they always had a couple friends there. And, like, so much of that was, like, the fantasy was like, see what it's like for half an hour to hang out with Mary-Kate and Ashley and be their friend.
Yes.
And like, and even before that, like, they were just doing like extremely fun stuff that like kids don't really get to do, like having a detective agency and like just like fun adventure stuff.
Even It Takes Two, like them being at camp and finding like a identical twin. I know that's a Parent Trap, but it's
but like that is like an
there.
absolute fantasy for like any girl. Like it's just like just so much fun. Like I used to dream about finding a long lost twin, and
absolutely, that's why I went to camp.
Yeah, exactly. That's why so many people went to camp.
Yeah,
I also loved camp. Like there's just like all the stuff they did. And also, okay, I've never said this before, but it's sort of like, I was like a very theatrical kid, and I think a lot of like young kids, you know, are like play make believe and like have fun, whatever. And they got to like be like professional singers and dancers, and they weren't really good. So it was sort of like, I could do that. Like it's sort of like, it just felt kind of like at once like very accessible, but also very like aspirational. In a way that just kind of kept feeding the same kind of like cycle of like, this could be me, it could never be me.
Yes. I think that's the basis of their brand in so many ways. And I feel like your anecdote about when you first saw the commercial for Your Invited Mary-Kate and Ashley Sleepover is a really good example of like the brand that they built that really made us like pulled us all in.
Yes.
Because you thought
I saw the ad for You're Invited to Mary-Kate and Ashley Sleepover Party. I went running out of the TV room to my mom and I was like, okay, I'm invited to Mary-Kate and Ashley Sleepover Party. I've been invited. So like, how do we make this happen?
Yeah. She thought it was a personal invitation.
I thought I was invited because it was stupid.
And and then they really did like the branding wise, they really did do that. They wanted like us to feel like we were a part of their life. And then as they got older, they especially when they got really interested in fashion and really bumped up their like personal styling and that whole thing, like they became this idea of what we wanted to be and felt like we could be because we were hand in hand with them the whole time.
Yeah.
And they really invited us. They really opened up, like when they made a website, they had like chats. So it just really felt like we were there with them. And like, I don't know, for me it was like really cool big sister energy.
Yeah.
They were doing stuff a little bit before I was. They got me excited to like go to high school, to go to school dances, to travel the world.
It was like the big sister best friend thing.
Yeah.
And it also felt like it was coming from them. I think that's why it's so jarring whenever we see stuff that's like, oh, this was made by like Hollywood people that don't know them. Because it's like, it feels like they run their business, like they know what we want. They're reaching out to us directly, it feels like. And it's like them. It's not like some person's idea of what a teenage girl or a young girl would want. It's like actually what we would want because it's coming from them. It just feels you just feel so connected to them. You feel special and you feel like you're
their friends. Like a lot of it was about friendship.
Right. And again, because they had each other, you could see their authentic selves a little bit better than I think people like who are just a single person like Lindsay Lohan, Hilary Duff, etc. Like they are always performing.
Isolated in their persona that way.
Yeah. They're performing in every single moment. And then with Mary-Kate and Ashley, we see them together and we see what they're like, I think a little bit more dropped into themselves.
Yeah.
When they're, especially like the bloopers. That's why the bloopers were such a huge thing. And they did all this together. I don't know. There was just something that felt authentic and real and cool and aspirational and so unique.
I will also say, like we've talked about this too, is like they just like have it. Like they just like have.
They have the X factor.
Even on Full House, like when they weren't playing twins, like there's something about them.
Right.
They're
magnetic.
Yeah. They just have it.
Star power, baby.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. There's always like a home video. No matter how big the production gets, there's always sort of like a returning home quality to it, or like nostalgia home video type feel to it, because that really is how they started. Like it was like you are in your home watching a VHS of them with their fake little friends at their pizza party or whatever it was.
Right. Exactly. Like you're not going to like a glamorous movie thing at a movie theater. Like you're home at a sleepover or by yourself pretending you're at a sleepover. But like exactly.
They also there's the whole thing about their brand too. They really reached out to tweens in a way, and tween girls in a way that no other company, no other brand, no other toys type of thing, no other like I don't know, film people. Like, it was just like a whole market that no one was really tapping into. And they very savvy, or whoever was a part of their business savvily tapped into it. So there's literally a million reasons why Mary-Kate and Ashley are so like why they have such an impact on us and had such an impact on culture and on our whole generation.
Out of curiosity, do you think that they will ever make an intentional return to the public eye?
No.
I don't think so either.
No. I think like no, because I don't think that there's no reason that they would. Like they've got everything out of it. Like it's like it didn't love them back in the end. And like and I know that like Ashley, more so than Mary-Kate, really seemed to not really be interested in acting. Mary-Kate did try to do a little bit of acting after the New York Minute. The New York Minute. And so, but like at this point, I mean, we, as much as we're experts on them, we don't know them. So like maybe, but like it doesn't seem...
They seem to be
like
really
something to be interested in doing.
No, I think they're really in a groove with their fashion. I think they found like a place that is really tapping into their what they do best.
Yeah.
And I did watch this really interesting video about how they used their like celebrity and their faces in the spotlight to help sell their brand Elizabeth and James. And I thought that was fascinating. And because so I feel like if they were to like go into the spotlight at any point in the future, it would be in service of like showing us a thing that they're working on, that they're just like, okay, fine, we did this.
Right.
Okay, just know this is something we want you to like. Okay, bye.
But it wouldn't be to like be actors or influencers or anything, because like they're not even on social media.
The anonymity and like I feel like their exclusivity now is like their superpower.
Exactly. And I think there's a lot of people who like, you know, were maybe child stars and like try to stay in the public eye, so they do like brand sponsorships, whatever. Like I think for them, they're like, we've been in the public eye since we were babies. We didn't have a choice in that. That is the bad thing we want to not be. So like, we'll do cool stuff, we'll make good work, but we're not gonna like try to chase that like admiration from the public by being in the public eye, because they know that it's not something that is actually hurtful. Good for you.
Right. They've been burned by it enough times that's they never aspired to be famous. They literally came into consciousness as celebrities. So it's
so messed up.
They have no idea what it's like to want to be famous. They just always have been. So for them to not be famous is the luxury. That's the dream. And that's why they're doing what they're doing so well. Like we talked about this in one of our episodes from last year, because they did an interview at the end of 2023, and it was just so illuminating that the reason why the row is so huge and like they're selling this quiet luxury that they've always done from the beginning. That's really hot right now, but it's literally just all they want. This is actually their deep down desires, is to make clothes and to have a brand that's not about being like out there. It's about
being secretly rich.
It's just about not flaunting yourself. It's about just like having your own things and not having to be on display about it.
Yeah. Oh my God. This was amazing. I feel like I just have learned so much. Now I'm going to be thinking about they never knew what it was like to want to be famous. They just like woke up one day and were.
They're like, oh, I guess we're famous. I know. Isn't that terrifying?
Yeah. That's so scary. Lani and Becca, this has been amazing. Thank you so much for joining us.
So much fun. Thank you for having us. We love talking about this. No one ever wants to listen. So.
I am seated and I want to listen. And I'm sure that everyone who's listening also wants to. And good news for them, there's hours and hours of it. Surely.
So many hours.
Yes, we have 3 years of content, and it's a lot of long, fun, good episodes. We have a lot of guests and cool stuff.
Yeah, I was reflecting on this week because we were doing we just posted our New York Minute episodes, and it's kind of the end of that era of them in movies together. And I just was reflecting on how proud I am of the podcast that we made. And it's even in this conversation, it's kind of nice to just kind of sit back and talk about this, like, because it's just information we have now. And it's because we did so much work and really unpacked no stone unturned and all of this stuff. And so I'm proud to share it. Go listen to They Thought I Was
I'm really proud too.
It's like, I think it's a catalog that's going to continue to be relevant and be fun to listen to.
Yeah, absolutely.
So where can our people find the podcast and you guys on social media? Like, what's the info?
So the podcast is They Thought I Was You, and you can get it on anywhere you get your podcast.
And the backstory for the name too. Someone asked me this recently, and I'm like, it's so crazy. That's not obvious.
So when
do you guys know where it's from?
Not specifically.
And it takes two when they run into each other in the woods. She says, "You're that." You wait a sec. You live at the Calloway house,
and you're that girl from camp. They thought I was you. And so it's a quote from It Takes Two. If you know, you know. But also, like, it's a play on the men in suits, the people, the society at large, thought the audience, was you, Mary-Kate and Ashley.
Yes.
So that's the idea.
And also people can't tell them apart. It's a multi-layered.
And I just wanted to
on those layers.
Hey, good. Just wanted to make sure everyone understood, because it just like occurred to me lately. Someone asked me, like, what does that mean? And I was like, how does not everyone know?
How does that every single no, everyone knows except for that one person who asked.
Thank you. I just want to make sure that one person heard that.
Yes. But anyway, you can so we're on every podcast platform. You can follow us on Instagram and TikTok at They Thought I Was You. We are on Instagram at Becca Roth, ROTH, and
Lani Harms, LANIHARMS.
And
we're like beaming because this is like how we end our podcast.
What is happening?
You can subscribe to our Patreon.
Yeah, you can subscribe to our Patreon if you want. I mean, you should probably listen to our podcast first, but we do have a Patreon.
Go straight to the Patreon.
Yeah, just give us money right away before you've heard us.
Honestly, respect.
I mean, if you want to, but that's it.
I think that's about it. Yeah. TikTok and Instagram is where you can find all our latest updates.
Amazing. Well, this was a dream.
So much fun.
Thank you for like actually putting in the work to like create a record of all this history, because it really does not exist.
Thank you for recognizing that. I appreciate that.
Yeah.
People like us need people like you.
Exactly.
I hope that after today's episode, you become a faithful listener to They Thought I Was You. These girls do not fuck around with their research and their knowledge, and I think that we all have something to learn from them. So, look them up, give them money immediately, and until next time,
open your purse,
open those wallets. And until next time.
For more from us, we're on Instagram, Twitter, TikTok, and YouTube at Sleepover Cinema and post a full video version of each episode on YouTube every Thursday. You can follow me, Audrey, at Audrey A. Leach on everything.
And you can follow me, Hannah, at Real Judy Garland on Instagram. And if you have not yet joined our Discord server, what are you waiting for? The link is in our episode description.
You can check out our merch at tupingproductions.com/shop. We have t-shirts, sweatshirts, stickers, and more.
If you love Sleepover Cinema, why not tell the world and leave us a 5-star review on Apple Podcasts?
Sleepover Cinema is a production of Evergreen Podcasts, produced, edited, and engineered by us, Hannah and Audrey Leach. Sleepover Cinema is mixed by Sean Rule Hoffman with theme music by Josh Perlman Hall. Executive producer is Michael D'Aloia.
I got a license to kill.
I have a learner's permit.